I'm standing in front of an apartment complex just outside of Washington, D.C., and my guest is Hannah. Thanks for joining us, Hannah.
I'm so glad I could be here today.
Now, describe for our viewers what's happening in these apartments. Who lives here?
The people that live here are the everyday people from this area, but in addition to them, there's a large group of refugees that live in these apartments. There's one complex here and in a different place. But these are people, it's like a UN. They're people from Nepal, Pakistan, Syria, Afghanistan, and Congo, various places, and they're all refugees or SIVs, special immigrant visas. These are people who work side by side with the U.S. government or U.S. companies. And no one knows, as they pass by here, the struggles that are going on with these people. I came to this country in the 60s because my dad came to do his PhD at UNC in Chapel Hill, and we were given a host family, all graduate students. So it was easy for us to navigate through a new place. But they come through the resettlement agencies, but they have no one to take them by the hand. And it's nice when I've made some friends with some of the families that live here. And having worked as a volunteer with a nonprofit called Homes Not Borders, we set up the apartments for these families before they come here, and we don't meet them. But as we set up, we meet other families that come out and greet us, and that way I've made a lot of friends. And I try to be that ambassador on my own, and my church supports me in tremendous ways, helping with the Homes Not Borders and providing their pickup truck or space at one of the schools to use to store our furniture. So it's been an amazing experience. But these are people who are struggling, coming through very good backgrounds, have wonderful jobs, lived a very good life, but now they have to start from ground zero.
Wow. So, Hannah, how did you first get involved in ministering to these refugees?
Well, it all started with one of my friends, Sunita Osuri, who mentioned about her daughter-in-law being involved with her church, which is the National Community Church in D.C., running the refugee ministry, and they were looking for volunteers. So I said, "Ooh, that sounds like a very good thing to be involved in." And I had just retired from having worked at the World Bank for 35 years. So I started coming and volunteering, and I loved it. And I reached out to my husband's family to get items to give to these people to set up the apartments. And then my network grew, and I contacted other churches, synagogues, different organizations, and Sligo. We have so many volunteers from Sligo. I actually am representing them, but we have many members who help us in helping these refugees.
So
that is my first introduction to this.
Right, so you've been involved in actually helping prepare the apartments before they actually get here, and then you've been personally involved in making friendships with the people. What sort of needs have you found that these people have?
They get very, very basic needs from the resettlement agencies based on UNHCR requirements. They get a sofa, a dining table. Because Homes Not Borders is involved, we provide everything from toilet paper to dishes to hangers to sofas. When they walk into the apartment, it's like walking into their home. They have everything. A lot of them, especially when they come from these countries like Syria and Afghanistan, they need large dishes because they make a lot of rice and the dishes that they make. So more than anything else, I think it's nice that they need the friendship of people who care and are interested to know about them.
Can you tell us about one of the families that you've met, one or two of the families?
I met an amazing family, many families from Syria. I have had no interaction with any Syrians prior to my meeting them. And they are the most hospitable people that I have met. Whatever they have in their home, they extend it to you. And also an Afghan family. Now the Afghan family I met, they have many children, and in coming here, one of the children who was born right before the wife moved here could not bring the child, and I'm trying to see what I can do to help them. But just demonstrating love and kindness is what Christ taught each one of us. And that is what I'm trying to show to them. Not preaching the gospel, but living it.
Yes. Now, for people who are viewing this and saying, well, how can I get involved in ministering to refugees? What would you say?
One way you could do that, and I know a lot of them are currently involved by donating dishes. We don't accept clothing, but we do accept dishes, furniture, lamps, cutlery, various items. And you can go online to Homes Not Borders and contribute that way. And there are many household items that can be used by them.
Yeah. Well, I've had the opportunity to visit some of the families here in the last couple of years, and what you say is exactly right. And I remember meeting one family, small apartment, 5 young children, but as you say, warm, hospitable, and many of them come from a Muslim background, and we as Adventists have a very good connection. We can pray together with them, and we can, as you say, show in practical ways God's love.
Exactly, and every time I tell them, I'll be praying for you, and I tell them, you call him Allah, but I call him God, so we both believe in the same God. And they're so appreciative, especially when you tell them, I'll pray about it, I'll pray for your family. They know that it means a lot to them because we are turning to someone who's more powerful than we are.
Well, thanks so much for joining us today, Hannah. I really appreciate you sharing with us. And viewers at home, pray for this ministry, but also pray for how you can perhaps be involved in a ministry to refugees wherever you live, because refugees are in all parts of the world. And we know that Jesus demonstrated compassion for people such as refugees, people on the margins. In fact, Jesus himself, as a child, was a refugee. We'll be right back after this break.